Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
Know that Trump and Epstein were friends during this period. This is really the first time that it's actually been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding. We can also see him
in a highly confidential meeting held during the month of May. Then Attorney General Pam Bondi and then Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche provided a private and comprehensive briefing to President Donald Trump. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. This briefing was centered on the Justice Department's extensive review of the vast collection of documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The detailed conversation, which also included other high-ranking officials from both the White House and the Department of Justice, was characterized by two White House officials as a routine briefing. Its primary and stated purpose was to offer the president a comprehensive overview of the Justice Department's key findings and the overall scope of its inquiry into the Epstein files. These officials were careful to stress that the mere presence of Trump's name within the thousands of pages of files was not the sole or primary focus of the entire discussion, but rather a single point within a much broader, more detailed, and more complex presentation. During this critical briefing, which lasted for a significant duration, Bondi also made a point of mentioning that a number of other high-profile and influential figures for various fields, including politics, business, and entertainment, were named in the documents, suggesting that Trump's situation was not unique among Epstein's powerful and well-connected acquaintances. This was an attempt to contextualize the information and underscore the sheer breadth of Epstein's sprawling social network, which spanned several continents. A key piece of new information shared in the briefing was that investigators had not been able to find a definitive client list, a document that had been the subject of widespread public speculation and intense media scrutiny for months, fueling countless rumors and conspiracy theories. Furthermore, the Justice Department's extensive review, which involved a team of experienced investigators and prosecutors, had concluded there was no credible evidence whatsoever to suggest that Jeffrey Epstein's death was anything other than a suicide, officially confirming the conclusion reached by the coroner's office and putting an end to a significant amount of public speculation. Sources familiar with the department's review went on to emphasize that many of the claims found within the files, including those mentioning Trump, were deemed to be unsubstantiated and lacked any credible, corroborating evidence. The specific context in which Trump's name was mentioned was not fully explained in the briefing, leaving some questions unanswered. However, it was already a matter of public record that Trump and Epstein had been social associates in the elite circles of 1990s New York City. This was a period when Epstein was known to actively and aggressively cultivate relationships with celebrities and powerful individuals in an effort to enhance his social standing and business connections. Therefore, the revelation that his name was in the documents, while politically charged, did not provide any new or surprising information about their past connection, which was already widely known and well documented in the media and in a number of books. The White House's official response to the news was a combination of dismissive language, a deliberate lack of surprise, and a strong effort to control the narrative. One official stated that the administration was not shocked by the briefing, because Trump's name had already been included in the binders of Epstein materials that Bondi had produced and distributed to a select group of conservative influencers and media figures earlier in February. The official added that many of the materials already made public by the Justice Department had also mentioned the president's name on several occasions, so the information was not new. The White House does not view this as groundbreaking or new or surprising at all, the official commented, while simultaneously and emphatically stressing that there was no evidence of any wrongdoing by Trump. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung issued a strong statement to CNN, asserting the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep, and further attempting to frame the news as nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media, a phrase often used by the administration to discredit unfavorable reports. This account of the private May briefing stands in direct and public contradiction to statements made by Trump himself in the following weeks, creating a public relations challenge for the White House. When asked by reporters last week whether Bondi had informed him that his name was in the documents, Trump adamantly denied it, saying, No, she's given us just a very quick briefing. This discrepancy in accounts fueled further media speculation and raised questions about the administration's transparency. The administration's handling of the Epstein files, particularly the decision not to release more documents to the public, has generated significant internal and external conflict. The move has infuriated a vocal segment of Trump's most dedicated supporters and the broader MAGA base, who saw it as a cover-up and a betrayal of their trust in the administration's commitment to draining the swamp. Inside the White House, there was considerable outrage that Bondi had not taken steps to redact Trump's name from the publicly available materials contained in the Epstein binders distributed in February. Her perceived failure to protect the president during this high-profile episode has become a long-standing point of contention and a source of deep tension between the Department of Justice and the White House, with some aides calling for her resignation. In a joint statement designed to clarify their position, Bondi and Blanche defended their actions, saying the DOJ and FBI reviewed the Epstein files and reached the conclusions set out in the July 6 memo. They clarified, nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution, and we have filed a motion in court to unseal the underlying grand jury transcripts. As part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings. The White House has consistently tried to deflect the ongoing public focus on the Epstein files, arguing that it is a distraction from the administration's policy accomplishments and is merely a political tool being used by Democrats to damage the president's reputation and distract from the upcoming election. However, a growing and bipartisan group of lawmakers has called for a full and transparent release of the documents, arguing that the public has a right to know the full truth. This mounting pressure forced Republican leaders on Capitol Hill to shorten their legislative session to avoid having to take a series of uncomfortable and politically risky votes on the matter. Before leaving town, a key House Oversight Subcommittee took the significant step of voting to subpoena the Department of Justice for the related files, escalating the conflict between the legislative and executive branches. Pressure on Trump has also been heightened by a separate Wall Street Journal report about a letter bearing Trump's name and a sketch of a naked woman that was included in an album given to Epstein for his 50th birthday in 2003. Trump has publicly denied authorship of the letter and has since filed a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal over its publication of the article, attempting to fight back against the renewed scrutiny and protect his public image. The legal action is seen as a way to control the narrative, challenge the credibility of the report, and send a message to other media outlets. This ongoing controversy surrounding the Epstein files and their contents has created a political firestorm, highlighting the deep divisions both within the Republican Party and between the executive and legislative branches of the government. The refusal to release more information has only fueled suspicion and led to further calls for transparency from both sides of the political aisle, creating a situation that has become a major political liability for the administration.